Ooh, pigs in my face. Hello everybody and welcome back. Here we are on the mountain where you left me last time. We've got a couple of dogs, great stuff. We've got a camel, we've got a bird. We're looking good. My plans for the future in this area are to tear down this entire mountain, or at least this mountain peak. We'll bring it down to about this level. So this is about where we're going to be building our outpost. And that means that we'll be able to gather all the lovely resources and anything else that we want to take from the north and we can take to the south. We'll be able to make pit stops here. So I was having a look around. There's still some iron in them there hills, but we'll get to that. Lovely peaceful forests, great stuff. But over in this direction it gets even more interesting. And this, of course, is the way home. So this is the way that we'll be heading once we're ready to set off. Look at that. So I need to go explore that and find out what's going on over there. That looks weird, right? I like it. Right, the problem that I've got at the minute, as you can see, is my tools are pretty busted, and although they both have mending, there's not really much I can do. I don't have any kind of spawner. It's all a bit... We'll work... Oh, that's an... Can you stop doing that, please? I can't feed him anymore. Right, what have we got? We've got some sticks, and when we were fighting the Wither, he blew quite a lot of stuff up and left us with some diamonds. Now my question is, I made an anvil with some of the iron that I took out of this mountain. If I make a pickaxe and an axe, will I be able to combine them? That's the question. Oh, the dog doesn't sound happy. So yeah, that only costs 16. If I do it the other way around, does it cost less or more? So I know that's a thing in Java edition. It costs 5. Wow. There we go. And we can do the same with the pit. Oh, let's put that one in, and then that one in. That's 17. Okay, that feels good. Diamonds can go in there, great stuff. And bits and bobs can go in here. And now I have a fully fixed pickaxe with silk touch, which means I can really make a dent in this mountain. Excellent news. And the axe obviously means I can gather wood. So the next step is to figure out sort of where and how I want my outpost. As you've seen, if we come in on a landing too hard and we're carrying something like a camel or a horse, it's going to hurt them. It's going to give them fall damage as they come into land. So I'm going to make a platform that's quite high up to bring the happy ghast onto, and then there'll be a platform low down that slowly captures the animals. That's the plan. What do you think? Good plan? Good plan, little birdie? He doesn't care. And the first thing we need is more materials. And I'll spare you the boring gathering montage. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to my testing world. As you can see, I've been doing some experiments with happy ghast. So in the background, what we have over here is some happy ghast breeding holes. And then this little guy is in a space that is slightly too wide for him. So he's got a little bit of room, but it's exactly the right depth. So happy ghast are 4 blocks wide. And as you can see, he just fits inside, which means that he doesn't fit through the roof. We'd have to get rid of these. And now these platforms are what are holding him down. We should probably... So that would be the minimum width for a happy gas to be able to come in. Now, the reason that I say you're going to have to move out. Oh, you can't. You're attached. I attached you. I remember now. Okay. Right. Let me get on and demonstrate. First, we're going to have to fly out of the top. Which, there we go. So we can fly out the top now, hopefully. We can't. You. Leave. I didn't want to do that. We wanted to. I'm on board. So I still can't take off. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's a squeeze. It's a tight squeeze. What we've got around the front is just one fence gate, but you can have like all four, or you could just have two in the middle. I've gone with 5 wide so that he fits, because if you try to fit him through something that is exactly 4 wide, it's really difficult. And it looks like it's kind of going to be a struggle to shut that gate before he flies out as well. So what we've got over here is step 2. This one is 4 wide, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is only just, but we've got fences on this side to give it an extra half step, and that's enough to fit through. And it's 10 high, I believe. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's because the happy ghast is 4, the lead is 4, and the horse is 2 blocks high. So 2 plus 4 plus 4 is 10 blocks high. Now remember what I said, I want it to come in at a shallow angle. I don't want to land the happy ghast and have the horse crash into the floor. The horse should be suspended when the happy ghast originally lands, and then gradually the horse will be brought into land. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do that, but what that means is that this whole thing needs to be 1 block higher. So it needs to be a minimum of 11 blocks tall, the tower that we build on the survival world. That's what I'm talking about right now. I don't know if I made that clear. So we're going to bring the happy ghast in at this height. There's going to be some way of catching it here, sticking out. So we're going to be coming in, we'll fly in, and we'll come into land, and we'll land on probably a water stream, because that will be nice and gentle. The water stream will carry us into a hole such as this, except it won't be that one, it'll be this one. This hole will be there, because the next part is that we raise it up. So I've attached a horse just to see what happens when I come in at a full crash landing. We're going to learn together. The entrance to this particular hole is right here. So first I want to come down gentle so that I can open her up. Oh, yeah, that hurt him, even coming down gentle. Right, we're open. We're ready to receive a passenger. So this is my worry, is if we have it too low, we're going to be up in the sky with our camel. Yay! This is my one and only camel. Oh, I really can't wait to get him home. I hope he survives the landing. And then we're going to come in. He's hit the ground. We need to check his heart. Okay, well that's not actually that bad, I guess. I mean, if it takes a couple of hearts of damage, that's not the worst thing in the world. Oh, don't. There we go. See, we're in. Without too much palaver, we close these gates. And then, is there a... Yeah, there's a hatch here. Now, normally, I'd do all this with redstone. There we go. We're going up. This is not easy, is it? It's a little bit fiddly, and without the redstone, it makes it even fiddlier. Oh, I went too high. Can we go back down, please? Thank you. There we go. We've got him in. And then we'd have to go down to the next layer. And there we go. And now he's in. And the horse is in. That was very fiddly. Lots of different sets of gates. And this, so yeah, I don't know if I like the horse being injured. He's still hurt, look. It takes him a while to recover. Oh, he's not my friend either. Why are you not my friend? You've just been on a really nice ride. And it only hurt a little bit. And I've been very nice to you. You should be my friend. No, right, well, I'm not your friend either then. So the next step is to talk about design. And I have been looking at this image on the right hand side of your screen. I quite like that style. It's obviously quite old-fashioned nowadays. We can do a lot better with the blocks that we've got, but I can't do a lot better. And if you look at the width, it's almost the perfect width. In fact, it is. 5 blocks wide would be, well, it would just be like this width, which I prefer. I prefer the 5 wide to the 4 wide and fences. I think I prefer to just have a bit more room. And so using that image and our science here, I think it's time we went back to the real world, back to the survival world, and saw how I was getting on with collecting all those resources. Welcome back to the mountain. While you've been gone, I managed to get a little bit of moss off a wandering trader. So I mossed up the place a little bit. I've gathered some resources. We've just finished furnacing some iron, which I may or may not need. We'll see how that goes. So I've got my soil and moss, bits and pieces. We've got some terracotta from over the hill, and I used my pickaxe to get some cobblestone. Obviously I was needing that. But these are the main materials. I'm thinking flooring, we'll go with the birch wood. And then obviously we're going to make the main structure out of the oak logs and the stone. But the base is going to be made of this stuff. And we might get some tuff in there as well. So I'll grab the couple of stacks of tuff, but mostly it's the cobbled deep slate that I'm going to be wanting. So I'll grab 1 stack of deep slate and a few cobbled. This is courtesy of the wither. I think we may need, you know, we're probably not going to need a full stack of walls, but I can see us using some walls. Let's make sure we get the right ones. It's the bricks that I like. We want some slabs, not the slate ones, the brick ones. There they are. And we definitely want a couple of stacks of the blocks. And then we've got a couple of stacks left over for, you know, any kind of decoration that we might require later on. And the same with the tuff, we'll work that out later. Right, so next we're going to use the moss because it's instant to remove, so it's great for placing, to work out our perimeter. This is roughly the amount of space that a room for me takes up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you want to have a bit of space. So you could say 5 by 5, which interestingly is the same amount of space that we're giving to the ghast in the tower. So the tower is going to be up a little higher than this. First we'll need a room down here. It's going to have to be a fairly big room because it'll have to have space for me to do all my things and space to store the animals while they wait to get attached to the ghast. So the animal will stay, say, in a little cubby hole like there. As an example, that might be your animal. And then you open the gate, you lead him out, you attach him to the ghast, then climb up a ladder, get on the ghast and fly up and away safe and sound. That all has to be able to happen here. So we need lots of space. I'm thinking this entire wall looks good. And shall we say 17 blocks? So that's how wide the box might be. Maybe a bit wider. It has to be an odd number so that we get the tower right in the middle. Because the tower is also an odd number. It's a 5 by 5. So 19. Let's see how that looks for space. So we can imagine the tower would be in the middle, and then we'd have a room, and the animals would have rooms. Yeah, that looks about right to me. So we're going to go 19 by 19. Okay, so that's what we're looking at for the space. I don't really like the overhang. I think I might have to dig into the mountain a little more to make sure that this lines up somewhere over here. I think it needs to be brought over by 4 blocks, but we'll say 5 just to make sure. So this is why we make a nice simple perimeter that's easy to break down so that we can check how it sits on the landscape. And I think it needs to come over 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to dig straight through here. Don't worry, you don't have to watch. I'll see you on the other side. I finally turned the music off. Done. I've moved the box. Oh, I got a chicken and I attached it to the camel. I wondered if maybe it'd help give it a bit of slow falling when the happy ghast drops it from a high height. Maybe the chicken will slow its fall. We'll see. Right, anyway. 19 by 19 moved over slightly so that we've now got a nice step all the way around the edge. It tucks into the mountainside, but only as long as the mountainside exists. So we can have an entranceway here into the mine. So maybe this will be my room, this little corner. And we can keep the animals over on this side. We'll have a nice entrance here. Okay. We should probably find the middle for the entrance. People like the entrance to be in the middle. So first, how do we find the middle? Well, we take 1 off. So we've got 19 long. Take 1 away. We've got 18 because that 1 represents the one in the middle. So 18 divided by 2, because we've got 18 blocks left and we want half of them on one side and half on the other side. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Let's see how good my maths is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That should be the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Excellent. So we found the middle. Now then, 1 wide, very good for fitting me through. But as we've said, we're going to be storing animals in here. And they can be all kinds of different sizes. So we're going to have to go at least 3 wide. Can a Ravager fit through 3 wide? I'm not suggesting for a second that I want a Ravager. But maybe in the future I might want a Ravager. And this would be a safe place to collect one. If I set up some kind of like small village and started a raid. I mean, it's not perfect, but maybe down there on that nice flat plain, maybe that is perfect. And then I'd only have to bring it up here. Next, let's talk about how tall this bottom room needs to be. Now, we know that the tower that stands on top of this place is going to be 11 blocks above it. So that needs to look in place, and it's going to be made in 2 sections or 3 sections. I've forgotten what we did on the testing world now. I've been digging this mountain for so long. Again, it's going to contain animals, so we want it to be a decent height. It's going to have a staircase that the animals can be brought up. So the tower will probably be in the middle. There's the stars. We can assume that the tower will be in the middle. The happy ghast will fly in probably from this direction. And they'll land, so any animals being transported here will land in this area, and then they'll need to be brought down into the holding stables, and any animals getting taken away will need to come out of the holding stables and go up some steps. So we're going to have a decent set of steps here onto a platform here. I'm thinking 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That gives us a decent height. The tower on top will be pretty good, but it does mean that the staircase for the animals will be quite tall. There may be a different way of doing that. We could bring it down. Oh, let's bring it down to 5 high. That doesn't look terrible, does it? It's not the worst height for a foundation building and then a tower on top. I kind of like that. I think we can deal with 5 high. Next step, easy. We just need to start actually building it now. And we can leave this as a blueprint. So we'll start by finishing the top layer with, and this is our materials for the foundation building, remember, or our main materials anyway for the foundation building. So let's start off easy. We can always take some blocks out later and replace them with different type of block. Please move, chicken, thank you. Like so. And now we can step back and see what we think. Oh yeah, that's good. It's a solid looking building, decent high roof, good sized door. I can imagine smaller rooms inside, plenty of space to expand. So now I think I'll just fill this out. Hey presto, we have a box. So what do you think of my doorway? Put a little bit of thought into it. I've textured the place a little bit. As you can see, it's extremely messy. It's just the first pass. We can go over it with things in the future if we want to blend these walls in a little bit better. I've never really done texturing before. But next, we need to talk about 2 things. One is the flooring, obviously. That's the nice, easy one. And the second one is the ceiling. We want some structural beams to hold the ceiling up. But the structural beams don't want to get in the way of the staircase. So we've found where the center is. And now we need to know how much space the ghasts need in the middle. So we're going to go 2 on that side, 2 on that side, making 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same here. And now we have a square. That is the middle. That space needs to be left alone so that animals may move in and out of this area. And that goes for the whole way up. This tower needs to be left empty. Next, I want my structural blocks, which are these. These are going to be holding the ceiling up. We may need more, but probably not. And we just need to make sure that we go around the edges of this. So we're going to put our first beam here. we're going to put our second beam here. We can just make sure that all that's nice and symmetrical. Oh, I've fallen in a hole. And then we're going to put a beam here. And another beam. Yeah. And these are just your roof supports to make everything look natural. I don't think it matters that I've gone horizontal before I've gone vertical. Usually I'd have gone the other way, so that line would have continued this way, but I don't think it matters. In fact, we could do some kind of pattern where they cross each different direction, but never mind. So now the hope is that without cutting through these beams too much, and again, we can cut through the beams with our staircase if we need to, but it just looks more natural, more realistic to have beams like this holding your ceiling up. And so the hope is that if we're keeping the animals in their pens over here and we take them out, in this space here we'll have enough room to have a nice little spiral staircase that goes up just one floor, and then we'll be able to attach them to the bottom of the ghast. Happy days. So the next thing we need to work on is the floor. The floor upstairs, which is basically the ceiling for this floor, as I said, I want that to be birch. I think it'll go well with the stone. But down here, as it's like an underlayer basically, I'm thinking those tough blocks might be perfect. If we have enough with 2 stacks to be able to do this entire area, and I really don't think we do. Since, you know, it's more than a stack just to do one line all the way around the edge. So I'll have to have a consider of what I'd like for the flooring. I could use stone, but because we're using stone for the upper layers, I'm not sure that I like that idea either. How about this? What do you think? And we'll just mix it up with a bit of this. Oh yeah, that's great, right? Oh, that's beautiful. I really like that. So it's starting to get dark. I don't want to bore you guys, but the process is essentially just make shapes and then fill in the shapes with your other stuff. Just make little shapes everywhere. I think I will put lights under here since I'm using slabs. Anywhere that we can hide light is a good thing. So I shall get cracking on the floor. You just heard my horse fall down again. Poor thing. Let's have a look what we're looking at. You can see how we try to make little shapes, but not too many. Maybe a diagonal and a couple touching and a diagonal. But for the most part, we try not to have too many in one area. And eventually you get something that looks a little bit like that. These ones didn't blend as well as I was hoping they would, and I didn't realise that I could put them down vertically and horizontally. I might go back and just change some of those to make that happen a little bit more. I kind of like that. And yeah, we're getting somewhere with the flooring. It's slower doing it this way, yep, I agree. I could just do the whole thing and then come back and do another pass with the other one, but by doing it this way, you just make sure that you get it where you want it, and you can change it as you go, and I don't know, it keeps you thinking a little bit more than just placing all the blocks and then going back. But either way, you know, sometimes I like to just get the shape down and then go back afterwards, and other times I like to do it like this. What do you think? We've got a few of the different types of tiles in there. I had to go back to make sure that I had just a few extra tough blocks to finish off, and indeed I did. We've got the beams in the ceiling, great stuff. We're ready to make small partition rooms in here in the future. This corner, I think I'm gonna actually be ripping the flooring out because I'll make this into my little room. So the floor in here will be different. And in the stables, we might have hay on the floor. I don't know if you noticed, I have got a little farm just over there. We'll see if I can make enough hay. I doubt it. A couple of stairs down into where the mine will eventually lead once I've taken the top off it. I was thinking maybe I could knock a door through here, just straight into that section. We'll see. Everything is there for the future. So that's step one. Next, we need to put the birchwood flooring on this layer. We need to get the staircase in to make sure that that's not obstructed, and then we can start thinking about the tower itself and how that's going to sit. I assume somewhere roughly in the middle. We might make it a little bit wider just depending on the staircase and how everything fits in, but essentially a happy ghast should easily be able to fit in this hole. So worst case scenario, we might end up just trapping one there with a little thing on it. All that's for the next episode. Thank you for joining me for this one, and yeah, let's get this thing finished next time. Love you. Bye.